know, Linnea, you've been in America before coming here, but what about you, Ida? Is this your first time coming to America?
No, I traveled with my family through like California.
Okay.
This summer, actually.
Oh, okay.
So I just went back home for like 2 months, and then I went back here to study abroad.
Okay.
But before that, I've never visited like the U.S.
Okay. Wow. Well, I'm curious. Like, what were both of you guys? What were your expectations of coming to America? And since we're in Oklahoma, also Oklahoma, coming to Oklahoma.
Oh, I don't know. Like, I didn't even know that OSU was like a dry campus. Like, I didn't know anything about like what Oklahoma is, or like how people are here, or like there is a lot of like religious people. Like, it's so different compared to what we're used to, which I kind of like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't really know what I had to expect when I got here, to be honest. I mean, like you said before, I've been to the East Coast, and that's pretty different from the South. Like, people are different in a good way, though, because people are so much nicer here in the South. I was very surprised by that, actually. Like, one of the first nights we were here, we were like I was walking home from like a party, and I was trying to get a hold of an Uber. So I was like, walking. It was dark outside. I was walking. I was like trying to like get an Uber on my phone, and there was like a car pulling up, and like there was this girl. She was like, "Oh, do you need a ride? Like, are you going to OSU? Like, do you need a ride? I can take you." And that was so nice. Yeah. It was just like she was just.
Sounds like the start of a horror movie, though.
No, but it was like a girl. It was a young girl. Yeah, like, if it was like old man, I wouldn't have done it.
If it was a man, I would be like, Linnea, you are so lucky.
No,
you were so lucky. It's like, don't get in the car.
She was a young girl, She looked like a student. It was like, it was two of them, actually, two young students, girls. And they were like, we can take you. I'm like, that is so nice. Thank you. And he drove me back.
Wow. Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
So people are very friendly.
Yeah. People... I noticed, like, I mean, I'm from Oklahoma, and so I've grown up here my whole life. But Stillwater, particularly, like Edmond, which is where I'm from, it's already like most people are pretty friendly. But Stillwater is like just even more. It's kind of interesting. Like, people are even more polite in general. But yeah, one of the things I wanted to ask you guys about. I mean, you mentioned like. There's like lots of, I mean, like, for goodness sake, there are churches on every single street block. Sometimes, if you'll notice, there's two on the same street block, the same street corner. And it's like, so they're like everywhere. So like, as I understand it, like, Sweden is not known for big religious, like, religion, I guess. And so I imagine coming here, has that been like, really interesting, or has it been like, have you been indifferent to it, or has it been annoying?
I would say like both, because I've
All
experienced some people who's like really, I don't know how to say, but like, you remember when we went to like the haunted house thing? Yeah. It was like run by a church originally, and it was nice. Like, the actual event was nice. Like, it was a like great horror house, but like in the end they like captured us and like wanted us to pray and like talk everything through, and like, and they wanted everyone to understand that, and then we all of us said like, oh, we don't pray, or like we're not religious in that kind of way. And it's like, people don't really understand that you're not like.
Wait, so was it advertised as a like
yeah, we knew that it was a church.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I was like, that would be kind of really weird if it was like, hey, come to this haunted house.
Yeah.
Now, like pray.
Yeah.
Now, all right? You're not leaving this house.
Yeah.
It's scary for a reason. You don't get out unless you...
But that was the thing. Like, there was some scenes in there. Like, everything was connected to the Bible and stuff. But in the end, it was like, oh, you should always turn your, like, faith to God, and nothing bad will ever happen to you. Kind of that way.
Interesting.
Yeah. But we're not used to that at all. Because I actually looked it up, and because I was curious about like Europe overall, like, because Europe is kind of religious, I will say, but I don't know how like good of a source this is, but I found like a list of like the least religious countries in the world, and Sweden was 4th place, which is like because there's a lot of atheists like don't believe in anything.
Yeah.
And we're probably the generation that like the least like religious right now. So it's a big difference from here.
Yeah.
What about you, Linnea? Has it been like kind of what she said?
Yeah, I agree with Ida said, but at the same time, I think it's very interesting. Like, it's so different, and people like see their faith like a way of living their life and helping them, and that's a nice way to do it too, and to see it too. So I mean, yeah, it's just different. I guess it's different. Like I can't really relate to that because I wasn't brought up that way, but it's just different. And it's fine. It's fine by me.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because I actually come from like a very religious background. My parents, well, it's more like my family's like half and half.
Okay.
Some are religious, some are not really. Yeah. And so, I mean, I guess like my parents kind of raised all of us kids to be that way, but like some of us are not really anymore. Some of us are still very much so. So I kind of have like I don't know, like interesting background, or I don't know, but like I'm very interested in religion and everything, and I still I'm still one of the kids in my family that still is religious and still is a Christian, but like at the same time, like since I have like two of my brothers aren't really religious at all anymore, and they're really smart guys, and so we talk about it and we debate things. And when I was younger, it was not good because my parents and my older brothers did not know how to speak respectfully. But me growing up and watching them, I learned what not to do. And so, but no, like since I've come to college, really in the past like year or two, like I've told you guys about how I like to read a lot, and so I pretty much, well, I guess the past couple years, but it really started in like junior year of high school, the summer after that. I decided I was gonna like try and read a whole bunch of different perspectives from that I hadn't heard before, or I'd heard about but not. And so like I bought like a bunch of books by like Richard Dawkins. You guys know who he is. He's a scientist, but he's like probably he's most known for being like the most atheist out there, I guess. And so I bought some of his books and I read them, and I read some other authors, and since then I've just kind of been trying to, I guess, figure myself out. And like right now, one of the things I've been doing for the past year is I'm trying to read through the entire Bible and like mark everything that like I think is like beautiful and incredible, but also pay attention to the things where it's like I don't feel very comfortable that that's in there. And then I'm gonna try and it's like, because I don't know, like this kind of opens up to everything having to do with like America right now, because I have to say, like, since I think like this country, I don't know if you guys have really experienced this, but from coming here, but if you watch the news, like the widespread like things that are going on in the country, it basically seems like most Americans have lost their minds, but because like and I think the biggest reason, and like ever since it was like 15, I was like 15 when I first started reading, I got interested in that, and that's when I really started to think that like the biggest reason like why like things in America, the reason why we had such a weird thing happen in 2016 with that whole election. Now like Trump is our president. Literally no one thought that was going to happen, except for one guy in one of my classes. Our professor was like, "So who do you guys think is going to win, Hillary or Trump?" And all of us were like, "Hillary, of course." I mean, like, there's no. And
Really?
one guy was like, "No, Trump's going to do it." And we were all like, "You're ridiculous," or whatever.
Really?
And then the next day, we were all like, "Hey, you were right." But no, like I've since like I like have gotten into reading and all this stuff, I really come to think that whole thing wouldn't have happened if people had been trying to understand each other through like reading, like whether it be reading the Bible. Like I have plans, I haven't read it, but I want to read the Quran sometime, because in the past I would talk about Islam, and I would have I would know details about things, but they're out of context, and so like I was speaking ignorantly. But I don't know, like I guess the point of what I'm saying, if I can get there, I don't know. I usually don't have the opportunity to give my spiel about books, but because I don't want to be that guy that nobody likes.
Don't say that.
But no, like by like reading the Bible and plans to read some of these other books, and I've already read some like atheist books and stuff. I've really come to the conclusion that that's like a really, I don't know, I think that's what people should, like I recommend all my friends to do that at some point, because it's really benefited me. It's made me very uncomfortable at times, because I'm like, well, this is like upsetting my whole worldview of things, but like it's better than me being like, no, I'm right because I'm right, and I have no reasons to back up why I'm right, but I'm right, damn it, But yeah, with the but yeah, I guess that if there's one thing you remember your American friend by, is that he's like, hey, well, I honestly remember me for other things, but but
remember you for a lot of good things.
But
don't you worry.
Remember like I know that like coming to America, and particularly Stillwater is more religious than any town I've been in. There's more churches here than I've ever seen. All I'd say is like with religion and that sort of stuff, just explore and try and figure it out, because I know a lot of people who they don't want to because they're afraid, because they're raised up in a certain way. Maybe they're raised an atheist. They don't really want to look into what Christians have to say, because then they have to reevaluate how they live their life. Or Christians, I know a lot of Christians who I tell them about these books I've read, and they're like, why did you read that? And I'm like, well, maybe they're right. And they're like, well, and they're like, well, it's got to be a terrible book. I'm like, well, have you read it? Well, no. But and it's like, I just would highly recommend that. I always highly recommend it to all my friends. Like, explore, try and figure it out, and see what everyone's saying. Because I like, I don't know, like I'm in some ways I'm a very silly person. In other ways I'm a very, very serious person. And so I always like, I think about this stuff a lot. I don't talk about it all the time, because again, I don't want to be that guy that annoys people. But yeah, it's I don't know, it's been really beneficial for me to try and explore the existential stuff. And I'm glad that you guys are curious about it, even though you're not like, it's quite foreign to you.
Right.
But,
Yeah. I feel like you just have to be open-minded, and like everyone's different. Like what I think is maybe not what you think, and that's okay. I mean, that's how it is.
Yeah.
And I think you just have to accept that, and that's fine.
I've always thought that people who believe in something are more happy, because a faith could like lead you to stuff that you feel like you always have someone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Which
you have always
is
someone to turn to.
Yeah, which is why I guess religion is like is what
And
it is.
especially like during bad times, I can imagine that's like a really good thing to have then.
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
During
yeah.
hard times and so on. I mean, that could be very helpful, I can imagine.
Oh yeah, and it's like, I mean, for me, it's always been like a question of like, I've always believed that there is a God, but for me, it's always been like, well, who exactly is he, or what is he? Because because like, I don't like, whenever it comes to like like where all of this came from, like pretty much all scientists agree is that like the universe, everything came out of literally nothing, just in an instant, which is literally impossible, which makes it a miracle. and so I've always been like, well, something caused it to happen that is not from what we know.
Yeah.
And so I've always been like, well, we have all these ancient religious texts and they don't seem to die out, and maybe that's for a reason. Maybe it's because they have a lot of truth in them, or maybe some of them had some truth and others had more, and they were all like darts on like a board getting close to the bullseye, and but yeah. Anyway, sorry that went on like a tangent.
No, but I like that. Like, I like the thought of there, like, something exists, but you don't know what or who or like anything like that, because that's like, you should always be like open-minded.
Yeah.
It's like thinking about aliens.
Yeah.
Like, if you're not open to the idea of aliens, like, how fun is it? Like,
Yeah.
why should I walk around and not believe that there's any more like life in this universe? Like,
Yeah.
I just feel like it kind of brings you hope, because I think
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
space and
agree.
stuff is really interesting.
Oh
So,
yeah, space is so
Yeah.
so crazy.
Yeah.
Like it's the most crazy thing.
Yeah.